Okay, so this is Jagger, and he's a cute little guy. These guys have been here just about a week now. I wanted to shoot some of this a little bit earlier, but had some stuff going on yesterday and stuff. But anyway, you're going to see most of it. I've already gotten through a whole bunch of their issues, just the beginning parts of their issues. But we're going to just kind of show you the beginning part with some stuff already done. But and then hopefully in a week or so I'll show you as this progresses. But him and his little brother I have in here, and I just want to show you some stuff. Both of these guys have a little bit of some anxiety issues. They get a little bit nervous about different stuff, and I always talk about, you know, not just desensitizing the bejeebies out of your horse, but getting them to operate their feet while stuff is happening. So I'm just going to show you some of this stuff. This is only a little tiny bit of what I do with these guys during the day, but it's probably the least boring to watch, although it's pretty boring. But first of all, I'm going to get him to just kind of warm up here a little bit because he hasn't done anything. Now the bag on the end is there because he's jumpy about everything. So it's just going to become a part of me, a part of what I do, so that when things are making noise, when things are moving around, he's just going to learn how to operate no matter what's happening. I'm not going to sit here and just flag him to death until he stands still. The last thing I want him to do is just stand still and freeze. So basically what I want him to do is to be able to think through anything that comes across. So you can see there's a whole lot of issues, I shouldn't say issues, but a whole lot of things that he still has to learn. He kind of pulls on me a bit, not nearly as bad as his brother, but these beginning stages, I don't get too overly critical. I want him to start searching things out. So you're kind of far away, I don't have anybody to man my camera, so you just get a set focal point there. But every time his nose kind of goes to the outside there, I'm just going to kind of close my hand and just kind of bump him so that he kind of feels that. And then every time he comes back in, life is going to be okay, and I'm just really soft, and my hand is just holding that rope. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start traveling with this. I call these progressive circles. Everybody has their own little name for it. Normally I don't just stand here in one spot, but I'm talking to you. So what I want him to be able to do is start following the feel of this halter. Because when you're riding him, you want him to be able to stay between those reins, stay between your legs, you know, all that stuff that they talk about. And if he doesn't have any idea how to follow that feel, you just end up pulling and yanking on your horse. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to take this circle and kind of travel it around a little bit. Sometimes in a straight line, sometimes in a circle, sometimes through things, sometimes over things. And he just has to learn to follow that. So when he gets to about this point, I'm just going to kind of walk forward, and then I'm going to plant myself. I'm going to make it as simple as I can for him, as clear as I can for him. Maybe I'll walk over here then. And then when I stop, he should feel that pressure on that halter, and he should come back into that circle. So if I'm going straight, he should go straight. He should maintain this bubble. And over time, he's going to get really good at this. Again, he pulls quite a bit here, but that's all right. He's learning. It's way better than it was. He has a little problem with that flag. Every once in a while, I just throw it out there, and we just keep going. Okay? And you're going to see I'm going to get more animated with this flag, but then it's going to be making noise. So I want him to be able to follow and maintain this bubble. If I go forward, he goes forward. I try and get him to not run into things, to go around them. But eventually I will put stuff in his way, and he has to think through it. Maybe I want to just kind of walk a little bit towards him, and he should kind of veer out slightly sideways. Go forward. I plant. He should feel that. He should stay aware of me. He should not worry about all this other stuff that's going on around him. Yes, he can look at it. Yes, he can check it out. I will not take that away from him. But I want him to pay attention to me too. If I pick up a feel on this halter, he should come to it. So I just kind of meander, but not meander too aimlessly where I'm all over the place and he can't follow me. So sometimes I'll have people do this and they'll be over here, and then they'll kind of walk over here, and then they'll walk here, and then they're like not sure, and then the horse goes, I don't know what you want me to do, because you're not giving them. You're all right, sweetheart. Sorry about that. It's like, I'm not the teacher's pet yet. So you want to make it clear, straight lines, clear stopping, clear straight line, clear stopping that he circles. Okay? We walk together. I stop, he should circle. Walk together. I stop, he should circle. Okay? This again is just ABCs. Very, very basic beginning. All the stuff that's going on around. You know, I'm going to start just kind of putting this flag into motion here a little bit, not asking him to do anything with it. My body is the first response that he should listen to. I'm still telling him to go forward. Just because that flag's moving around doesn't mean I'm directing it at him. He can figure out the difference. They know the difference if your stirrup is just flapping or if you're actually applying a leg pressure or something that he needs to listen to. It's amazing that they can figure that out, but they can. So maybe this is just, the flag is just kind of dragging with me. And trust me, this is good. He has a little bit of trouble with this flag on the ground. I did a couple days in the round pen with both him and his brother first, so that I wasn't drugged too far, because I'm getting kind of tired of getting drugged around. So I just use the round pen so I have a little bit of a barrier that they can't drag me quite as far, pull away from me or anything like that, where other things are going to happen. So I just help him learn to go forward no matter what's going on. I go forward. Now maybe I tripped. Sorry, buddy. I just happened to trip. I wasn't talking to you. I just tripped. Keep going. I'm not hurting you. Nothing happened to you. I just happened to trip. Now if I just trip and trip and trip and trip and trip and trip and trip, he's just going to get used to it for that moment, but then maybe, 10 minutes down the road I trip again and he's going to have trouble. So I just intermittent do stuff. Maybe I'll reach out and just kind of touch him with that flag a little bit. Okay. So this is just kind of progressive circle treadmills. And one day, hopefully in the next week or so, I'll be doing this all over the property, through the ditches, over different types of natural obstacles or my man-made obstacles. It doesn't matter. Maybe I want him to go through the middle of those barrels there. I'll try and aim him, get him to think. Come forward. He maintains that bubble away from me. Oops, just had another problem there, buddy. Sorry. There was a bee on me. Not really, but he doesn't know that. I just got to wave to the neighbor. I'm not talking to him. Maybe one day I want to work a colt off of him or work a cow off of him or something. I might have to operate that colt and do something with my hands, but my body's not saying for him to do anything different. He has to be able to sort that out, and they can. Give him the opportunity to be able to sort that out. And one day here pretty soon, when he starts sorting this out, I'll be able to get his body in proper position. He'll be soft, etc., etc., etc. Right now, nothing is really correct. But they don't start off perfect. Don't expect that. You got to teach them these things. You have to allow them to learn this. Help them go forward. Now I guarantee. Okay, it would seem that I have lost my audio. So I put on the microphone, and let me see if I can do the old director's commentary. If I can see this little bitty thumbnail that's on my computer as we go along. Alright, So, no idea where I was. As I'm going along here, sometimes he pulls on me pretty hard. Every time he pulls on that halter, I'm just going to kind of bump him a little bit. And also I started adding in, the flag a little bit more, jumping, tripping. I kicked over the barrel there a second ago. Just because he kind of overreacts to stuff, I want him to understand that he needs to be able to move his feet forward and just not worry about everything else that's going on while we're going through this. He needs to still pay attention to me. He can look, he can figure things out, he can check at things, but he doesn't have to react like he doesn't know what the heck's going on, or like he needs to get out of town just because something a little bit out of the ordinary happened. And pretty soon they learn that even the extraordinary, they can just kind of keep going and listen to what I'm saying and believe in me and trust in me because I'm telling them you can keep going. And they get to the point really pretty quickly when you teach them this way, instead of just having them stand still and deal with everything. Instead, starting to teach them how to operate their feet and still remain thinking no matter what else is going on. And it starts off with these just little simple things like the flag just moving around. It's not doing anything particular. Just like the stirrups on the saddle are going to flap, or your reins are going to move a little bit if you're not holding tight onto them. All sorts of various things are going on that the horse learns is not a problem. Even their tail just flying around in the wind. They learn to not jump at that. They just understand it's not directed at them. So you just keep doing, help them keep moving, thinking through what you're asking them to do, no matter what else is going on. So again, this is just the first week of these guys. Got through quite a bit of these kind of things already. He used to, when that flag would kind of come up to him, we'd do a little bit of bolting away. So he's gotten actually pretty good at that, where I can, most of the time, every once in a while, he'll still have a little bit of a reaction, but it's way better. I can put that flag on the ground and kind of reach up and touch his shoulder or run down his legs or get it in between his legs and have him just keep going. Things like that. And he's gotten a whole lot better about it. Because you never know, you might be riding and something falls off your saddle, or you're holding a jacket and it falls, and next thing you know, you're 40 feet the other direction, bolting off home at 90 miles an hour just because your jacket dropped. Or the person next to you dropped something, or anything like that. A balloon. Those Mylar balloons are everywhere. I've had them just like out of the middle of nowhere land on my horse. So you want them to be able to think through those things. So we're doing a whole lot of different things here. He's learning how to not pull on the halter. He's learning how to go forward. He's learning how to follow the feel of where I'm at. Where I'm kind of like telling you I might be a little old cripple one day and be walking kind of funny, and they have to be okay with that. At first, a couple days ago, he wasn't so okay with that when I'd walk real funny. He's like, I'm not sure what to do here, and he'd just kind of get worried. Now he's like, well, she hasn't told me to do anything else, so I'll just keep going here. I don't want them dull, like I said, but I want them being able to sort out what it is that I'm asking and not asking. So he's just going along pretty well there. I'll send him through the barrels, I'll send him over things, make him kind of think about stuff. And over time, like I said, I'll take him throughout the whole property. He'll be going up and down ditches, over rocks, through bushes, over my man-made obstacles as well. And just learning how to go forward or stand calmly without being frozen, but still thinking while other things are going on. And pretty soon that curiosity, because he has an awful lot of curiosity. He's a very, very curious horse. So pretty soon that curiosity is going to make him one heck of a nice, solid trail horse. So while you're doing this stuff, you want to make sure that you have some clarity in where you're asking that horse to go. I'm going to walk in a circle, kind of get with him with his feet, and then travel forward. He has to be able to follow it. If I go all over tarnation, he's not going to have any idea. So I have to have a plan. I have to project where I'm going, and they can get really good, just like a school of fish. I mean, they don't run into each other. They just can maintain that and follow it, and it's really pretty cool. I'm changing directions on him. Sometimes he has a little trouble getting started still, but that's all right. So this isn't the only thing that I do with them all day, but this is something that I find is really critical in getting these guys understanding how to do stuff. And here I'm going to start switching directions a whole lot more, getting him to, when I plant my hand, he should stop that front foot, and if I ask that hind quarter to yield, he should yield it around, and then drive that shoulder out and away from me. His brother has a little bit of trouble driving that shoulder out and away from me because he'd much rather jump on me and say, hey, hold me, hug me. But Jagger here, he's pretty good about it. He goes away from me. Eventually I want him to do a lot better. But I'm going to ask him to be able to stop, turn, face, yield, go the other way, yield the hind quarter completely, yield the fore quarter completely. Sometimes I might walk a little bit sideways towards him. Not asking for anything perfect, just asking for him to yield off of my thoughts, my pressure, to keep that bubble in between us. That bubble might be, a hairline, or it could be 8 feet. It's wherever I'm asking them to be. And they're remarkably good at figuring that kind of stuff out. So he's doing a real good job here, learning how to go through stuff. And believe it or not, he's jumpy, but he's not really afraid of a lot of things. I know it sounds a little contradictory, but he's jumpy just because he's not sure. He doesn't have an understanding exactly what he's supposed to do with things. But as far as obstacles go, he's not too afraid of stuff. I mean, I took him over all the obstacles down below, and things don't scare him. It's the, what do you want me to do with it? And he doesn't understand that. That's what scares him. So you just got to take your time and explain things to him. Teach him how to learn. Give him something that he can follow. And then they get a whole lot more confident when they have an understanding of it. Because he really is a pretty darn brave boy. So once he gets this understanding, and it could take, a month or two until he gets really good, clear understanding, but you take that time. He's not a baby. So he's already been doing stuff for a little while. He needs to understand things. Not like you teach him the first time there. I'm wiggling it all over the place. The flag, meaning. Sometimes I get pretty assertive with it. Sometimes I don't. But he'll understand if I'm asking him to do something or not. Just because a car's driving next to you on the freeway doesn't mean that you're going to get worried about it unless it starts coming towards you and making some sort of indication that maybe you need to get out of the way. So it's pretty much the same thing. They can figure it out. They know if other horses in the pasture are just meandering around or if it's saying, get away from me. I watch it all the time. They get really very good at it. So I tripped again over his head, which he doesn't like so much. He has to be okay with that too, because you're going to be up there. If you can't handle things that are flying around up above him, you don't need to be there yet. Yielding his hindquarters, planting that front foot. Again, not asking for perfection yet, asking for an understanding. Now there, yeah, a couple days ago that was really fun. I dragged that flag while I was yielding the hindquarter and yielding the forequarter. I just dragged it behind me, so it was kind of chasing him. We were kind of traveling the arena pretty well. He did not like that, so he's coming so far, so fast. Every day he just learns what it was that I did the day before. I don't have to repeat myself too much, other than the constant progression of it. Occasionally it goes over to the other side of him. It'll go to the other side of him underneath. It'll go under behind him. It'll go in between his legs. So there he understood the difference between it's just touching you and rubbing you, and now I need you to move off of it. Change directions. So I just use that flag as if it's no different than the halter line or my ponytail or anything else. It's just there, unless I tell him to do something with it. So he's actually pretty darn good about this kind of stuff. Asking a little bit of sideways. Not a perfect half pass or full pass or anything like that, just a concept. Teach him the concept, get him to learn, get him to figure out how to get to that point. Then you can make it all purty. Sometimes he gets a little bit anticipating where I want him to go, so I just block him, and that's the end of it. Again, this is real important for him just because even though he's yielding pretty well, but it's the bag and other stuff going on. I'm making different noises and stuff, and occasionally tripping or bumping into him. So that's what he has to kind of figure out. Now there, I'm going to kind of ask him. Oh, thought I was at a different part, so still asking him to go forward and around, just changing things up. Back. I'll often use the flag on the top of their rump while I'm asking them to back. It actually helps them back up a lot. Instead of like whacking them in the chest, they actually do understand it. We had a little bit of trouble backing up for a while. It was quite an effort getting him to back. He's still not backing great. He's backing very hollow. He's backing kind of stiff. He's pushing on me a little bit. He gets better and better every day. When he gets stuck there, I just tap him. Say, hey buddy, use your back. Still being haphazard with the flag. Text messages. He's doing good. Alright, so still just kind of messing around here a little bit and continuing to do the same things. Yielding hindquarters, bringing that front end across. I'll be doing a lot of that stuff while I'm riding too. All the stuff that I'm doing here I'll be doing when I'm riding. So I'm getting ready to finish up with him and go get the other one. So he's just going to stand there nice and easy. He doesn't really like his ears messed with sometimes, especially with that flag. He's been getting a lot better, but now I've been, even his mom did really good with the ear problem that he had. Now I'm putting other things up there like plastic bags and stuff, so that he's okay with those things too. Again, if things can't be moving around above him, you have no right to be there either. I also want him to be able to walk into that pressure. One day I might want him to move another colt or move a cow or open a gate or who knows what you need. Be out trail riding and somebody's kind of getting aggressive at you, just a person, because you're out on a public trail somewhere. You want your horse to be able to handle pushing into things when you ask him. Not pushing you around, but if you say, go, you should say, okie dokie. A little bit more on forward and back. I want him to come off of pressure forward. Be able to back up nice and easy in the rhythm. Still has a long way to go there on that back up, but he's getting softer. Every time he starts to do it himself and actually put effort into backing instead of me pushing him back or dragging him back, when he actually makes the effort and organizes his muscles and gets his mind together and starts taking his own feet backwards and his own mind backwards, I release and I say thank you very much. That's the way to get a horse soft, is you stop applying and allow them to finish the maneuver. You still go with them, obviously. You don't stop that, otherwise they should stop. This is, you should be able to put your legs up on your horses and stuff like that. If I can't swing my leg up there without him coming unglued, I have no right to be putting my leg over that horse to ride him yet. So if you kind of jumped away from me there that first time. But anyway, when you're asking them for doing something, you always set it up, help them get started, and then they finish the maneuver. That's how they get soft and light. And if he has trouble standing still there, if he gets kind of antsy for half a second, I just get bigger and just kind of move all over the place, and then he goes, oh, maybe I should stand there. I said, oh, good idea. I'll be able to rub him and touch him anywhere, over him, underneath him, around his butt, pick up his tail. Just be able to put my fingers in his ears and his nose and his eyeballs, you know, not hurt him, but one day I might want to run up to him, or some little kid's going to run up to him and give him a great big hug. I don't want him freaking out. So basically he just thinks he has a crazy lady that he has to deal with for a while. Because if you pussyfoot around these guys and get too soft about it, you actually make it a lot worse. If you avoid too many things, you make it worse. And you don't overdo it to where they can't handle it, because that makes it worse too. You got to find that balance. He's doing pretty good there. He's actually really good at following you around. There's no problem with that. So again, I'm looking at a tiny little thumbnail there, but it's possible, I don't remember, but if you got a little antsy there for half a second, I might have just continued to do a little bit more. So I don't want to leave him in an all heightened state. Hug, a little pet. Let him know life is good. Alrighty, so just let this play out unless I see something else that goes on. And then it'll transition here in a minute and we'll do his brother. Okay, this little guy here is Mick, and he's similar but very different from Jagger. He actually is a little bit calmer appearing, but actually has a lot more fear, and he's way pushier, which is okay, just where he is. He does have a little bit of a club foot on this front right, so you'll see him sometimes be a little bit not balanced yet, but you know, between the farrier and learning how to move a little bit, he'll hopefully straighten out enough on that to be pretty effective and good. Clubfoots aren't that big of a deal. So he's going to do the same, pretty much the same thing as the other one. And again, he has a lot more fear with pushy. And you'll just see quite the little bit of a difference. He pulls a lot more. A couple days ago, again, I wish I would have gotten that on tape because then this wouldn't have seemed so blah. But he's okay following, you know, if he's just kind of going along. But if he has to actually think or do something, he's a little bit worried. Then he'd kind of lose his brain a little bit. So when, you know, the first couple times I did this in the round. So like I was saying, the first couple times I did this in the round pen, and kind of got him to where he wasn't pulling quite so bad, because he'd drag you around. My body's done with being drug around unless I have to. So I use the round pen just as a little bit of a barrier, so I'm not being drugged quite so far. Kind of gives me a little bit of something to, just an edge, so it's not running so big. And then the day or 2 days before this, then I put him in the arena here. And I was doing the same stuff, and I actually had to have him. He'd lose his mind several times, so I actually had to have him literally run into like some of the bushes or the cones or the barrels. I'd like aim him toward them, just so that he'd kind of like snap out of it and pay attention to where he was going. And after a few times of running into things, he started to listen. And one day here, same with, you know, him, I want to be able to take him all over the whole property, going up and down the ditches, through all those bushes and over the rocks, the obstacles. He still has a little bit of trouble even just getting out to the obstacles. He's kind of really needs to have a buddy. So one thing I've learned is if you take him out and you just keep them out until they're like afraid, and you know, they just don't see an end to it, or they get really scared because they're all by themselves, you know, because even though they're with you, you know, they're not at that point yet where they're looking at you like, oh, you're going to help me. So, you know, essentially they're alone. But if you just take them out there and overexpose them, it doesn't really help much. You still always have a little bit of that fear in there, because again, they haven't had an understanding of what it is that you're asking them to do, other than stay out afraid. But I found what works really, really well with the majority of horses, you work them in close, and then you kind of get their curiosity about wanting to go out. You kind of move them back and forth and do different stuff until they start looking out there and kind of want to go out there, and then you go with them. And then it's more their idea to go out, and they actually get a whole lot braver, and pretty soon you'll get those horses to where they're wanting to go out. They just get so excited and so happy to go out and be out there, even though they don't have another horse with them, because you gave them that time to figure it out, to learn it, to understand it, to see that they're not going to get hurt. If you just push them to the point to where, all right, they're kind of shut down and they're doing it, yeah, I've never seen it really help truly to where the horse has an understanding. Yeah, you might be able to get them out there, but they still don't have an understanding. And I'm kind of where I like the horse to truly, the best of my ability anyway, and it's hopefully improving every day, but to where they can really truly understand and learn and think and be your real partner, not just something that you're sitting on and pulling from point A to point B. So he's coming a long way. Even the first time when I put him in the arena, the barrels, we were looking at them sideways, upside down, and every which way but going forward. So he's actually come pretty good on that too. He's now going through them. I don't care if he looks at him like that. He just needs to keep going. I don't want to put blinders on him, but I want him to think through everything. So again, we're doing the same thing that we did with the other one. You'll see he pulls me a lot more. I can't stay quite as steady on my footsteps. He's a whole lot better though. flag, and he has less trouble with the flag in some aspects. Sometimes that flag can really get him, and he can get to kind of kicking at it or something when it gets in between his hind feet. But he'll get used to that and learn to be able to go through that as well. His biggest thing is not pulling, paying attention. It doesn't look, actually looks not great yet, but way better than it did. So he does the same progress as his brother pretty much. It's really makes lots and lots of progress every day. But every time he's soft on that line, there is no weight on anything. It's nice and soft. Like I always might have said it on the other one, I don't remember, but if that horse is any heavier than if I had to move a hummingbird around, if it would take any more effort than if I had a little hummingbird on my hand and I was just moving him from point A to point B, or, ask him to do something, if it was any heavier than that, he's too heavy. That's as heavy as you should ever need to apply anything. I don't even like to say pressure, but it's hummingbird weight. That's all it should be. Nothing more than that. One day I should be able to do this without even the line there if I wanted to, or just have a little piece of his tail or something holding it, or a little thread. He'd be able to follow that real nice without any feel on that, or run on any heavy on that. They can get so light, people don't realize just how soft and light these horses can get. Some people have never even felt how soft it can be. And every time when I start with a new horse, I don't care how old they are, how much they know or don't know yet, I treat the horse as if they're already finished. I mean, I don't go in there and treat them like they're stupid, or, oh, you're just a baby, you don't know anything. I try not to do that. I treat them as if they are the most perfect horse and already finished and everything is wonderful, and I give them that. Then I'll help them with whatever they need help with. It could be the very basic ABCs, but I still don't treat him any differently than if he was already a horse that I've been training for 20 years. When you treat them like they're, not worth it, they pretty much feel that way. Moving right along here, starting to bring that flag up and down a little bit more. Wish my screen wasn't so small I could see what I was doing better. So I'm not worried again about if he's in proper position, going around or not. You can't worry about that too much. And on this first stages, you just got to get them to understand that concept, figure out how it works, give them the pieces and specifics, and then you can get fancy. Anytime he hits on the end of that line pretty hard, he'll run into it. He'll run into that halter. But then I immediately go back to as if he's perfect and not doing anything wrong and super soft and light, and I expect it. If it's not, I help him through it. Now when you're working with these young horses, and well, any horse particularly, but one of the things I'll often say is, if you're teaching somebody to bake that they've never baked before, ever, they have no clue about it, and all you do is you throw some flour and some sugar and some oil and stuff on the counter and say, make a cake, hurry up, make it, make it, they're not going to really have any clue how to put that all together, and the list of ingredients and the time and how long to put in the oven or anything like that. So you got to explain all that to these guys. You got to show them what to do with this, what to do with that, how much of this, and kind of educate them. Then you can get to drawing flowers and making, really fancy triple layer or whatever cakes, anything. But you gotta get these basics down. They have to have an understanding. They can't just bake the cake if they don't have it. If they don't know what to do with the different pieces. So there I am, tripping again a little bit. Getting him yielding nice and soft. And you can see he gets kind of pushy. This front end on him is really hard. So he's a pushy kind of dude. So sometimes, for a while, I have to get pretty firm and tell him he needed to go, not push onto me. Still kind of leaning into me a bit, but way better. As long as he's making improvement, life is good. Sometimes I'll make surprise turns and things. I've been on horses and all of a sudden somebody in front of me turns around and, hey! And yeah, and you're in the next county. So, I'll be walking sometimes. I'll just turn around and give them a hug or something, or turn around and pet them, or turn around and ask for something. Just so they don't worry about what I'm doing. And some of this he kind of, just like with his brother, he'll do a lot of it. He's kind of moving all 4 quarters there because he doesn't want me to move his forehand. But they're not really, like I was saying, they're not putting in that effort to do it themselves. They want me to kind of do it for them, so to speak. Doesn't work that way. The way to get them soft and thinking and confident is to let them finish all the maneuvers. Let them think about it. Don't do the homework for your kids. They won't learn. They got to do it themselves. They've got to get to the point where they'll pick up that book and read it on their own. You shouldn't have to keep shoving it into their face and sitting them down and tying them into the chair and putting that timer on. They should go get that book and start reading it and learning themselves, and it's basically the same thing here. They should put in that effort. Makes a much happier and much more confident horse. Don't want him to bend so much there. He's kind of pushing on me, so even though he's pivoting that foot, oftentimes people don't see that. They'll be pivoting or they'll be doing it, but they're still pushing on you at the same time. That's a no-no. There he's moving all 4 quarters because he's leaning on me. Same bubble thing. And I want to get my timing with my feet as best as I can. Get it together with his. I don't know if I was explaining that on the other one. But it's not going to always work right now because they don't have real good timing yet. And sometimes they'll push on me or pull on me or something, and then I get a little out of step as well. My bird's helping. Yeah, he doesn't like that. He's better. But you want to get your feet in timing with their feet, so that pretty soon they get in timing with you. And it's not just your feet; it's your whole body. Everything comes through my body, through my core, so to speak, through my actions, through my focus, through my thoughts, through my balance. So I ask for everything there. And if they're not following that, which they're not, these two aren't yet, then I'll help them a little bit. I'll pick up the line or close my hand or open my hand or use the flag or get in there a little bit more. But that's what you got to do. You got to bouncing around again. So he doesn't have quite as much problem, but he does. But you want to get in there and teach these guys. Help them figure out how to learn. You can't do that by doing it all for them. So yep, if I can't put my leg up there, I have no reason to be swinging it over him and taking him for a ride. If he can't follow my feel or anything, or he keeps trying to escape me or pushing on me, it's just not necessarily at that point to prove that I can sit on a horse. I can do that. It's much better if you get them to where they really have an understanding, where they're okay with everything. Teach them every step of the way. And I'm not kicking him there. I'm just putting my foot up and laying it on his back. No different than the saddle, no different than if you have to mount your horse, they should stand still. They should, if they don't give you permission to get on, you should not get on. And that flag is just there. It's not asking them to do anything. Always makes it a little bit harder when I have one more thing in my hand, but it's important for that horse to be able to get over that. If I don't have it there, then they don't learn how to think through that stuff. If it's always really quiet, it's quiet enough out there at my place. I got to add a little bit of stimulation. So I'm saying he needs to stand there while I'm doing different things and not worry about it. When you first get on your horse, you're going to be doing different stuff. You might have to adjust your hat, put your foot in the stirrup, whatever you need to do. Just have to be okay with everything. I do apologize again for losing the audio. Sure makes it better when I can remember what I was talking about. But you can't really redo that video. What I'm doing, what I'm showing you there is about what I was just talking about getting it through your whole body, getting your whole focus and everything going. So when I just kind of yank on him and pull on him, he gets all stiff and tight and can't do anything. He won't back up, he won't come forward. As soon as I put a little feel through my body, there's no weight at all then on that line. And he's okay with just following that feel. If I just start pulling on him, he's going to start pulling on me. So if I get it through my whole system, and I do it, then he can do it. If I just pull on him without any thought towards it, he's going to get stiff and stuck. He's a real good horse, though. He's also going to be real good. They're going to have a good time with these guys. Should be able to take them all sorts of places. Just got to learn, and they're pretty quick learners. They don't have anything drastically wrong. They don't have huge baggage problems or anything. So it's not like you have to go across all of that. You just gotta teach them how to learn, and they'll be good. Alright, wind's starting to pick up and stuff, and just wanted to show you a little bit on that video of what they do, where they're at. Like I said, I can't redo the video because they're only at that point for that point. And the next day they're better. We're doing something else. So thank you very much, and we will talk to you next time.